Welcome everybody to another Indie Dev Spotlight video here on the Game Wisdom channel. Every Wednesday night we play indie games either submitted by developers or finding demos of them. And these are the recap videos. If you'd like to submit a game for a future stream, please get in touch. But we are starting off with SkateBird. This is a game that it is what the title just suggested. It's a game about birds on skateboards doing, well, skateboarding. So essentially it is Tony Hawk, I guess if Tony was a real hawk, or some equivalent of it. Now please keep in mind that the footage you're seeing is taken from the Steam Summer Festival, and this is an alpha build. So I'm sure work has been done on it since this version. But the basics are here. This is a realistic physics-driven skateboarding game, just in a far micro size. The surrounding areas remind me a lot of Toy Commander, that we're a little character in a big world. Oh, and it features a procedurally generated birds, as you can see right here. You have missions you need to complete, and you'll be collecting letters, finding various items, and I gotta say my bird looks very stylish with the hat and bling combo there. And again, there isn't a lot to really talk about right now, but it pretty much plays as you would expect from the classic style Tony Hawk games. And for those of you who picked up the remake, if you're looking for a new old take on that kind of skateboarding, keep an eye out on SkateBird, and I'm sure we'll be taking a look more at this as the game continues its development. But we now turn our attention to the Riftbreaker, and this was the prologue edition that we played on stream. And this game definitely shows some potential for doing things a little bit different compared to some of its contemporaries. So the idea is essentially, let's take the survival, base building kind of aspects of something like Factorio, but let's work in a whole ARPG system to go with it. And Factorio meets ARPG, it probably just checked off a lot of boxes for some of you watching this video right now. But the prologue takes place in kind of a simulation, with the full game going to be on, I believe, procedurally generated worlds. The idea is that you are gathering resources that you need to properly build up your base, upgrade your character, and unlock new features and functionality, as we all know come and love from other kind of games. What the game does differently compared to some of those other titles is that this is the first game, at least from what I've played, that is trying to do both. It wants to be that kind of base building, you need to set up resource chains, prepare defenses, as you can see here as a Factorio, but you are controlling your character much like in ARPG. You can buy or craft different weapons, and those become kind of your skills that you can use when it's time to deal with enemies. Enemies can also drop random item upgrades that can be attached to your gear as a form of loot. And that's the first time I think I could say loot in a Factorio game. The game has a really nice look to it, very destructible kind of environment, so you can see me mowing the lawn there. Now, with that said, just a few concerns. If you're watching this footage and you're expecting this to have that same level of complexity and emergent behavior as in Factorio, the Riftbreaker does not appear to go that far. Many of the buildings work essentially as fire and forget. So place down a miner, place down the power, we're done kind of things. If you're hoping again for being able to construct elaborate assembly lines and production chains, that doesn't seem to be what the Riftbreaker is about. From watching kind of like the endgame, the trailer footage and seeing the description videos, the game is going for kind of a long-form campaign, as you set up bases and production on various planets complete with their own biomes, which in turn will allow you to upgrade, and thereby letting you get more progress through the campaign, unlock more things to do. You get the picture. So it seems to be going for kind of a jack of all trades, master of none kind of MO for its design. And I really like this game. There is some potential here. And I'm hoping, or I hope to see more of the persistent layer of the campaign in future versions. Again, this demo that you're seeing just takes place on this one map, and that's it. So for those of you who are looking for either a little more ARPG in your Factorio, or a little bit more base building in your ARPG, I would definitely keep an eye out on Riftbreaker. This is one of those surprise hits for me from the Steam Summer Festival. And with that, we're turning to 30XX. This is the sequel to 20XX, a roguelite that was essentially if Mega Man X was a rogue. And the game did incredibly well, and it blew up in popularity thanks for this innovative take on the design. And with 30XX, developers have expanded on things. One, for having a very detailed, and I love the aesthetic of this game. It's almost like, I think, a 32-bit aesthetic. But the footage you're seeing is, again, taken from a pre-alpha, so I'm sure things have been done a lot more since then. If you haven't played 20XX, the basic rules are this. You're going to choose what boss to fight Mega Man style, and the levels themselves are procedurally generated. The further in kind of your game you fight a boss, the harder the generation's going to be. You'll find passive upgrades, armor mods, and of course beating the boss will grant you a weapon as well. And of course by the end of the run you should hopefully be a fully powered up robot who can take on the game's final challenges. Now, with 30XX here, we only got to essentially see this first level, and we could play with the game's two characters, Nina, and I believe their character's name is Ace. And they are analogs for X and Zero, respectively. And from what I played, this is very much more of 20XX. I believe they've also recently announced a permadeath or actual roguelike mode that people can play with as well. So that definitely is going to add a little bit more spice to things. But for this game, there really isn't a lot to say right now in terms of what's going to be completely new. If you are a fan of 20XX or of action roguelikes, this is definitely one to put on your list. So with that, we're going to take a quick break, and when we return, we have a few more indie games to look at for this video. And now for a quick shout out to our current Game Wisdom supporters and sponsors. Going forward, all Patreon supporters will get early access to our videos. And if you'd like to continue this discussion on game design, be sure to check out our Discord channel, linked down below. If you're looking for more wisdom about game design, be sure to check out my latest offering of books, 20 Essential Games to Study, aimed for first-time developers and students looking for some inspiration for their upcoming games, and Game Design Deep Dive Platformers if you're interested in anything regarding 2D and 3D platforming design. They're both available in print, digital, and wherever books are being sold. For our next game, we turn to The Last Spell. And from the festival, this is one of the hardest games we got to play, and one of the most intriguing. This is a kind of like turn-based RPG roguelike. And the story is that we are defending the last town on the planet from waves and waves of nightly monsters and undead creatures trying to stop us from saving the planet. So the big thing about this game is that during the day you properly, or you'll hopefully, outfit your heroes, set up defensive structures, patch up walls, etc. And then at night you have to defend. And you are always going to be outnumbered in this game. On like the very first night, I think we were outnumbered like, it was like 3 against 30 or something along those lines. Characters have varying abilities, and they can make use of them as long as they have enough like energy per round. And they'll recover some of it after each turn. So the idea is that you're going to set up characters to do damage, or just properly set up to be a defensive line, and then try to get them into the proper position. And As with games of this kind, each character individually can deal with the undead and monsters very easily. It's when there's 30 or 40 of them surrounding them that you run into troubles. And if something like Army of Darkness sticks out to you as you're watching this footage or hearing this description, yeah, this game definitely harkens back to that kind of Last Stand kind of design. And I am definitely looking forward to this one. In terms of complaints or nitpicks, I really don't have any at this time, as we only had a chance to play the demo like twice. So I didn't really get a chance to get a huge feel out of it, but definitely keep an eye out on this one. Moving on, we turn to the game Raid on the Zone. And this was basically an early alpha demo for the Steam Festival. And the developer is kind of going for almost like a return to the old school top-down like Desert Strike, Jungle Strike kind of game, but with a focus on like an open world. So the idea is that our mission is we're trying to basically destroy these various military bases and their more important silos in each area of the map, but we need to do it in a certain order and grow our vessel or our drone here in terms of power. And this is one of those games that it didn't really seem like there was a lot going on, at least in this demo version, and I definitely struggled with some of the controls of it. And ultimately, I think onboarding and playability are going to be the two key things that need to be worked on. Now, keep in mind that we did play this during the summer, and what you see may not be the current version of the demo that's available. But I do like the idea of kind of having this open world structure to the game, and the map could be filled with interesting choices or procedurally generate what's going on. There could definitely be some potential here. But with that, we're going to wrap up this video recap. And I would like to thank developers for either submitting games or for showing them on the Summer Festival. As always, if you'd like me to play your game in a future stream or video, please get in touch and come back every Wednesday night for more Indie Dev Showcase streams here on the channel, as well as our nightly streams. Check out the Discord and Patreon link down below, and until our next video, have a great day. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed things, be sure to do all the liking and subscribing that the kids are doing these days. Check out our Discord channel link down below where we hang out and chat game design, and come back later tonight for our regular streamings. But that's it, and tune in for more great content here and on Game Wisdom, where we examine the art and science of games.